Hey, let's talk about the jetpack. I feel like the jetpack kinda got overshadowed ever since it came out. When Jungle Inferno dropped a billion years ago, the overhaul to Pyro's flames, the balance changes, the banana, the dragon's fury, heck, even the maps were the stars of the show. I've seen a ton of videos talking about the gas can, the slappy hand, but this little backpack has flown under the radar for the most part. And the funny thing is, even though the other Jungle Inferno weapons were discussed more, I personally see the jetpack used the most. Which is certainly interesting considering it really isn't the strongest thing a Pyro could be using. That's not to say it isn't useful. Being able to have what amounts to a rocket jump on demand with no setup and no self-damage is pretty darn handy. You can get into fights, get out of fights, get back to the front lines after respawning, and just go places in general. Of course, it isn't really free. The jetpack deploys and holsters very slowly, so you have to predict when you'll need it. You need to have some breathing room, especially since it has that short hop before the real blast begins. The short hop is a double-edged sword. It does make it harder to get away if you need to, but it also allows you to adjust your direction before the real jump begins. It draws on the same general theme as the gunboats for Soldier and the sticky jumper for Demo Man. You sacrifice your secondary weapon for the ability to traverse long distances really quickly. I mean, the most obvious downside of the jetpack is that it isn't a shotgun. With the jetpack equipped, you literally have zero long-range options and are confined to just the flamethrower. Using it with the Dragon's Fury can mitigate this, since the Dragon's Fury has double the range of the flamethrower, but whatever you use, the jetpack kind of forces you to adopt the role of a permanent flanker. The lack of range and high mobility encourages constant backline meddling, medic harassment, and spawn camping. One of my favorite features of the jetpack is that it lets you get to places a Pyro could never otherwise reach, such as this spot on Frontier, this other spot on Frontier, this spot above the cart on Upward, this place above Red Spawn on Upward, and many more besides. Pyro shines when ambushing people. She's just so good at it. And the best place to hide is right above somebody's head. TF2 players famously don't look up, although the jetpack is so loud and leaves such an obvious smoke trail that if you dive bomb directly into a crowd of gamers, you're kinda asking to get blown out of the sky. Speaking of which, the jetpack has more problems. While it's a lot of fun to perch on rooftops or sail through the air, if you get hit, you aren't reaching your destination. The jetpack carries a hidden penalty of increasing the knockback you take by 50%. The impact of this can best be shown in this clip. I get uber charged by a medic and rush the sentry. Are you seeing this? Sentry guns already possess stunning knockback power to help them serve as area denial, but with the jetpack equipped, I can barely move towards it. Now, a high-tier medic player could have gotten in front of me and tanked the sentry's knockback, allowing me to rush it freely, but I don't blame him for not knowing that. Nobody does that in casual games except me, and that's because I'm a moron who watches competitive TF2 occasionally. The point is, the knockback increase applies at all times while the jetpack is equipped, not just when flying around. But because knockback is already increased while players are airborne, if something hits you while you're rocketing through the air, you are going for a ride. Woohoo! And again, this feature is a double-edged sword. Yes, it can cause you to just hit the skybox or get knocked off the map, but it can also save your life. If you get cornered by an explosive class and suck at air blasting, you can just jump and let them blast you away. Sentries can easily push you out of their firing radius before they have a chance to kill you, so long as they don't just pin you against a wall. Yeah, sentry guns already make a Pyro kind of useless. With this thing, it's even worse. Fall damage. Yes, hello. The jetpack heavily reduces fall damage while blasting. It's not a permanent reduction, because that would be silly, but it does ensure that you don't start every fight with half health. Handy. Just don't forget that fall damage is reduced, not eliminated, because your daring escape on 1 HP might end up being not that. Speaking of which, one of the best features of the jetpack is the stomp. If you jetpack towards an enemy and land on his head, you will do a stomp on his skull and hurt him. The actual damage number is a little unpredictable, but it's always 3 times your falling damage. Important, when it says 3 times your fall damage, what it means is 3 times the fall damage you would have taken without the jetpack's damage reduction. So essentially, if you land on somebody's head and would have taken 10 damage, the stomp will deal 30 damage, even if you get that 10 damage reduced to you by the jetpack. Confused yet? Basically, you can crash into people and kill them. If the stomp damage doesn't end his life, the point-blank flamethrower will soon after. But honestly, the stomp is pretty hard to pull off, not just because you have to account for an enemy's unpredictable movement pattern, your own hard to control flight pack, not get knocked off course, and remember to actually swap to your flamethrower mid-flight. But if you miss, the jetpack will cause every enemy around you to fly up into the air and away from you. The knockback caused by the jetpack is one of its biggest downsides because it usually pushes people out of flamethrower range unless they hit a wall or something. The good news is that the knockback is based on your velocity, so a shorter jetpack flight won't send people as far away. Those huge leaping airship attacks will, however, so watch out. That can be its own kind of fun though, landing in a big group of people and just sending all of them flying in different directions. To me, the jetpack is perfect design. That doesn't mean I think it's the strongest, but it's fun, unpredictable, and enables a different way to play the game. Let me just leave spawn and buy a flight ticket straight to blue team's teleporter exit. That sounds like a good idea. Come on. There we go, now I can die. Also, watch out for direct hit soldiers, because they really like air shots. Man.